Thank you for joining us today. My name is Jorge Martinez, and on this edition of our upcoming series, Cool Spots in Escondido, we will be talking with Cindy Stankowski, director of the San Diego Archaeological Center, located at 1666 San Pasqual Valley Road in the city of Escondido.
Well, actually, Jorge, we have 10,000 years of history at the San Diego Archaeological Center, going back to prehistoric times. The San Diego Archaeological Center was founded to preserve archaeological artifacts and share them with the public. In 2018 will be our 20th anniversary of having a museum and our 25th anniversary since we were first incorporated. Today's trash is tomorrow's archaeology. This mural demonstrates that what we throw away today will last in the archaeological record for a very long time, and the message here is to reduce, reuse, and recycle. The San Diego Archaeological Center curates archaeological artifacts and shares them with the public in ways that they can understand and appreciate. Most people don't know that there's 10,000 years of history here in San Diego.
Wow. 10,000 years, you said?
That's right.
Wow, that's lots of years.
These are artifacts that were excavated from Fort Guijarros, which is on Point Loma.
These artifacts were excavated in San Diego?
Correct. The earliest artifacts we find in San Diego County were found mostly along river valleys and places where there used to be water, even if there isn't water now. The only thing we know about this culture is really their stone tools. That's all that remained in the archaeological record. But these were large hunting weapons, much too large for a bow and arrow. They probably used spears or an atlatl, which is a throwing stick. But from carbon left from hearths at these sites, we're able to get a carbon-14 date of about 10 to 7,500 years ago. The center is open to the public Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4, and on Saturday, 10 to 2. Admission is $2 per person or $5 per family.
This right here, this specific part right here, is where you guys house the Spanish structures and artifacts?
This is our exhibition hall. The cases we're looking at right now are document the prehistory of the region as well as the early history of San Diego at about the 1880s. And this is our feature exhibit currently on Fort Guijarros. This was a fort built by the Spanish on Ballast Point in Point Loma. It was to protect the harbor, mostly from the English. Eventually, it became a fort for the Mexican Army, the United States Army, and was also a whaling station. This is a wonderful little model of Fort Guijarros on Ballast Point. And this was a fort that was first built by the Spanish in 1797. Later, it was taken over by the Mexican Army, and then finally the United States Army. And the area was also used as a whaling station. This is a sample of some of the weaponry that would have been used by the Spanish at Fort Guijarros.
Wow, and this is one of the large guns they used to use?
This is actually a rifle that would have been typical of the time, and in this case is also a small cannon, which is presently in the square at Old Town State Park. There's an image of a cannon there. It's a little model of the cannon one of the cannons that was at Fort Guijarros. And most of these cannons shot grape shot, which were smaller cannonballs put inside a canvas bag. And they could do more damage to a ship as it went toward a ship. The balls came out of the canvas bag and could make more holes in the hull of a ship. This is indication of the trade that went on in San Diego. The harbor was a very good harbor for ships, and basically there wasn't much manufacturing here, so things like otter hides, cattle hides, tallow candles, any of the luxuries of life had to be brought in by ship. They were actually kind of like floating department stores, and the items that were traded back were usually the otter skins, tallow, and the hides of steer that were raised here. These are some beautiful models that were made by volunteers at the San Diego Maritime Museum who were gracious enough to loan us some objects indicative of the period. This equipment was used back in the day by ships to guide them on sea. This is way before days of GPS systems. This case describes a little bit of the whaling industry. The fishermen had actually almost wiped out the whales, the right whale as it was called, on the East Coast. These are harpoons that were used in whaling. These were loaned to us by the San Diego Maritime Museum, and a whaler's life could be a very short life. You're in a very small boat, a handful of men, shooting sharp things into a very large object that doesn't like it very much. And the object was to subdue the whale enough to bring it alongside the ship, and then these large blades were used to cleanse the blubber from the whale. That's a whale vertebra right there.
From an actual whale?
Yes.
Wow.
You can see these harpoons, very large instruments. It was said that whaling sailors didn't marry until they were retired. Can you imagine sticking pointy objects in a very large animal that's not liking it very much? These are some Doughnut stones that we curate for the Navy from San Clemente Island. We've been studying these stones to determine what they were used for. Currently, we think they were digging stick weights. Most people know about the Lighthouse, which is a federal park that you can visit, and also the Fort Rosecrans National Cemetery.
So prior to the American military taking over this spot, it was a fourth Guijarros that used to be here?
Correct. And Guijarros is the Spanish word for cobble. And the little spit of land coming off Point Loma there is called Ballast Point. The ships would either take on or leave off these large rocks as ballast.
Cindy, what is your favorite part of the museum?
I would have to say the classroom is the favorite part of the museum to me. This is where ideas are exchanged. New ideas are presented. There's a joke that if you get 2 archaeologists in a room, there's 3 opinions. But it's good to talk about these things. It gives us a better understanding of the past, which can help us inform our future. The center also offers programs for both children and adults. Our K-12 programs include visiting schools with archaeological programs, as well as field trips where kids get to excavate a mock archaeological unit. During this exhibit, we have videos about whaling. We have videos about the whaling industry, and we also have videos about some of the basics of archaeology. The center has a gift shop where we feature books and archaeological activities for children. The San Diego Archaeological Center is unique in that we were founded to preserve artifacts and share them with the public. It's not like some museums where these things wind up in a storage vault somewhere and never see the light of day. The center was created to be a resource to the public in understanding the past in their community. Some of our adult programs include lectures. Local authors come in and give lectures about their books. We also have research activities and workshops.
Cindy, I want to thank you for joining us on this interview, and thank you for sharing all that information about the center. And again, thank you for joining us on this exclusive interview with Director Cindy Stankowski. Until next time, only on Channel 19, the Escondido channel.